Alright, sige. Good evening. Alright, hello.
Hello, sir.
Alright, you can hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, alright. Today I will discuss about the number three topic, which is part also of your midterm, which is on Friday, is the capital budgeting. Okay, don't worry. Maybe I will give a little bit uh, uh, topic, no, more on the capital budgeting. So pero ano lang, maybe basic about capital budgeting, but in your final exam, I will give more difficult problems, no, of capital budgeting. Why? Because one of the favorite, no, of the examiner, especially in management advisory services, no, is the capital budgeting. Paborito to ng mga board of examiner in the management advisory services is the capital budgeting. All right. If you read your book, no, what do you mean of capital budgeting? Anyone?
Sir, pwede po basahin yung galing sa book.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Yun po yung dynamic process ng pag pag-allocate po ng budget ng isang company para po sa future investments.
All right. So it is to allocate, no, in terms of money for future investment. All right. What else? Very good. Very good, Janina. No? What else?
Sir, pwede po mag-try.
Sure, sure.
Sir, ano po, sa own words ko po, yung capital budgeting po is the planning and evaluating
Alright.
long-term investments if worth it po ba na
Right.
mag-engage sa ganong klaseng investment.
Very good. The keyword here is it is for a long-term investment. Very good. Kasi one of the main factor, that's why you have your capital budgeting is ito ba ay feasible or not, no? If it is feasible or not to have the capital budgeting or to invest in one particular product. All right, very good, Fairy. Hi, John. Fairy ba? All right. My question. Good evening. Okay, good evening. All right. Today I will discuss about, no, what do you mean of capital budgeting, no, and evaluating the process, and explain what the inputs are used in terms of capital budgeting. Okay. Also in terms of capital budgeting, wala po akong mic. All right, no worries. So in terms of the capital budgeting, what are the techniques or methods or tools that we will use now in terms of this? Number one is you have your cash payback period. Okay. Number two is you have the net present value method. And number three is all about your profitability index. And number seven is the IRR. And the last is the accounting rate of return or the annual rate of return. So very important to explain the essence of it, since majority, no, of the exam is to compute for IRR, to compute for profitability index, to compute for accounting rate of return, and very importantly is to compute for the net present value. All right. So usually, ano yung sa board exam, no, in terms of the questions? Usually, number 3 is the madaming tanong dito, no, is how to compute for the net present value. Why? Because net present value is the widely used in terms of computing your capital budgeting. All right. All right. Okay na to. All right. What do you mean of capital budgeting? No? It is the process of making capital expenditure decision. So wherein you will purchase one particular investment, one particular equipment in order for you to have, or if it is feasible or not. Okay. Why? Because you have projects at the same time you want to maximize returns in terms of investment. Okay. What are the example of this? No, in San Miguel Beer, no, when I was in San Miguel, naalala ko last year. Okay. Dating San Miguel is we have only one line, which is you just purchase or you just produce, no, San Miguel beer. Kaya lang, because of there are a lot of uh, consumers, no, drink more beer, so tumaas ang aming benta. Okay? So ano yung ginawa ng San Miguel? Okay? Alright. Okay. So ang ginawa is very important is kami ay nag-invest ng isang uh, line, 'di ba? Kasi si Alvin, no, gustong uminom ng beer, eh kulang na kulang. Kulang na kulang ang daming demand, but there's no supply. So what we did is we purchased more investment. We purchased large amount of investment in that particular line, 'di ba? So it involved large amount of investment, no? 1 billion, 2 billion pa or 3 billion pesos. Okay? That's why, yes, bago ako umalis sa San Miguel, we purchased that line, no? Kaya lang, because of pandemic, correct? Because of COVID-19, for sure, apektado ang benta ng San Miguel ngayon. So meaning, sayang yung binili namin na equipment. Tama ba? Yan. Why? Because part of it is to maximize the company's returns in terms of financial investment wherein you have a capital project. Alright. Ano bang ingredients ng beer? Water, corn, barley, and malt. Okay. Yun yung ingredients ng beer. Alright. So yun. So before you purchase one particular investment, ano ang kailangan mong gawin? Is to compute for net present value, not to compute for profitability index, to compute for uh, uh, ano yan, payback period. All right. Yan ang pinaka-importante. Okay? That's why capital budgeting is, for me, one of the uh, important, no, in terms of the management accounting, or especially in terms of decision making, if it is to purchase or not. All right. So far, any question? None. All right.
None, sir.
All right. So in terms of capital budgeting, no, it is a evaluation process wherein if you will purchase or not, or if it is feasible or not to purchase one particular product. All right. That's why, again, capital budgeting is an evaluation process. No? Saan ba nagsisimula ang capital budgeting? So, una muna ay galing yan sa project proposals. Okay? For example, si Justin, no, wants to purchase large amount of investment na sabihin niya it will minimize, no, the COVID-19 cases. Yan. Nasa hospital ka, di ba? Yan. So meaning si department na yan is the one who will propose if capital budgeting should purchase, or that particular investment should purchase or not. Okay? Number two is the proposals naman are screened, no, by capital budget committee. So very important is you have your capital budget committee. Sino-sino to? Usually sila yung board of directors. Why? Tingin niyo bakit sila ang board of directors? Anyone?
Sir, sila po yung nagme-make ng
Sila po yung
Ano yan? Sino yan?
sila po yung magde-decide.
Very good. So yun nag-decide, di ba? Bakit? Of course, again, it involves large amount of investment and napakalaki ng pera dito. Malamang sila ang mag-a-approve niyan, no, in terms of that proposal. Alright. Kasi pag hindi, yan. Yes, to protect the contributions. Alright. Officers determine which projects are worthy of funding. So very important is you have a proper funding, you have worthy of funding, you have money. No? Common sense. If you have no money, paano kayo makakabili ng one particular investment or one particular equipment? Alright. And yan, ito na yan. Board of Directors finally approve the capital budget. Alright. Kasi medyo madami ditong yumayaman, di ba? Especially if you are in the purchasing department. Kasi ang laki ng pera dito. Alright. Cash flow information. So, in the capital budgeting, di ba? I think Sir Jerwin, Sir Joshart, di ba? Sorry, si Jerwin ay kapatid ni Sir Joshart. Sir Joshart, I think introduced you about the accrual basis of accounting. Tama ba? Tama, Marikay? What do you mean of accrual basis of accounting?
Sir, what do you call this? Revenue is recognized
Okay.
when earned and expenses
Alright.
are recorded when incurred.
Very good. Okay, so accrual accounting is basically you record the revenue when earned, no, regardless when it is paid or when it is collected, no, and also expenses are recognized when it is incurred, no, regardless when you will pay for it, diba? That's accrual basis of accounting. But in capital budgeting, we will set aside first, no, the accrual basis of accounting. We will follow cash flow numbers, we will follow cash basis of accounting for the meantime, no? Kasi, what do you think is the reason why we will follow first cash basis versus the accrual basis of accounting in terms of capital budgeting? Sa tingin niyo, bakit? Why is it that we need to compute for the cash basis, which is the cash inflow minus cash outflow, not accrual? Why? Because we should know the number for budget. Kasi po hawak na yung pera. Okay, very good. Because, again, it involves large amount of investment. Napakalaking pera nito. Parang sigurista lang muna tayo, no? So, dapat, we need to know how much would be the net cash flow wherein you will compute for the estimation of it in terms of capital budgeting. If it is feasible or if it is feasible or not, no? Or you need to purchase or not. Kasi pag hindi, for sure, you will not propose for that particular project. Diba? Okay, very good. So, again, we will follow first cash inflows minus cash outflow, which is your cash flow, okay? In terms of computing for the capital budgeting. In computing for, sorry, there are only four. In computing for cash payback period, in computing for net present value, in computing for profitability index, and computing for IRR. But the number five, accounting rate of return, is we will follow accrual basis of accounting. Alright, sige. Don't worry, I will discuss one by one the methods of the capital budgeting. Alright, what are the considerations in terms of capital budgeting? Common sense, of course. Especially now, because of the COVID-19, do you think companies will purchase a large amount of investment or will purchase equipment? Tingin ko hindi ngayon. As of now, hindi. No? Why? Because of the COVID-19, most companies or all companies now are affected with the COVID-19, and for sure they will postpone if they have a plan of purchasing large amount of equipment this year. Okay? Yan. So malamang ano muna, on hold muna. Okay? Then number two, relationship among the proposed project. So yan ba ay pwede, no? Or what if you will purchase one particular investment to eradicate or to eliminate the COVID-19? Maganda yan, di ba? Yan. Alright. And also, the company's decision-making approach, no? If it is feasible or not, or we just postponed or we just put on hold in purchasing one particular investment. Yan. So, very important is decision making. That's why it is part of your management advisory services or management accounting, which is for decision making. And the last, of course, you will consider any risk involved in this particular project, di ba? Like San Miguel, no? Ang laki ng aming ginastos sa pag-purchase, no, ng second line. But of course, because of the COVID-19, no, sa tingin mo, uh, very much affected, di ba? The return of it. No? Of course, the main goal of this investment is to maximize the return, correct? Para dumami yung iniinom na beer ni Mary Kay, di ba? Na San Mig Apple o San Mig Lemon o ni Khalil. Okay, kaya lang, of course, very much affected now of the COVID-19. Yan. For example, ito yung example. No? Take note of this. No? For me, naalala ko during my college years, no, especially during the board exam, parang hindi naman nahirapan. Madali lang siya. Pero okay lang sa akin lumabas yung capital budgeting, pero more complex problems pa, no, is the capital budgeting. Why? You need to analyze, no? Alam nyo ba yung ginagawa nyo dati about the present value method? I think in the financial accounting, you compute for the present value. Tama ba, Khalil?
Yes,
You
sir.
compute for the future value. You compute for the present value of your cash flows. You compute for the present value of your of one. So here we will also include that, no, in our computation, especially the present value of one and present value of annuity of one. All right. Sige. What if a steward company is considering an investment of $130 in a new equipment? The new equipment is expected to last for 10 years and have zero value. At the end of the useful life, no? The annual cash flows are 200 and the annual cash inflows is 176. All right. So here, we will follow again the cash flow, correct? All right. So how much would be our investment? Maybe I will write this in our Excel. Okay. Ito ay later na to. Alright, so I will copy. I will just, para snipping tool tayo. Ayaw. Ito yan, di ba? Alright, para mabilis natin. Alright, what if this is the information? Okay. Alright, so here, very important is you will purchase $130,000, di ba? And then the useful life of it is 10 years. All right. But because of this investment now, you will generate 24,000 cash flow every year for 10 years. All right. Pag yan ang information, na, what is your decision? You will purchase that equipment, yes or no? Again, you have or you will purchase $130,000, no, and it will last for 10 years, diba? Because of this, you will generate daw additional 24,000 cash inflow. All right, my question is, with this information, okay, you will purchase ba equipment, yes or no? Purchase. Why purchase, Jaime? Why
Sir,
purchase?
sir,
All right,
kasi po in 10 years mag-generate siya ng
very good.
240,000
Very
which
good.
exceeds the initial
All
investment.
right. So, meaning 24,000 times 10 years, you have 240. Diba? And then, magkano ba yung ginastos mo? Only 130. All right, take note of that. In the first scenario or in the first decision, you will purchase that now because you have 240,000 as part of your cash flow for the next 10 years. About 24 times 10 minus 130, you have 110 now. Yan. Okay. Later ha. Okay. I will explain. Okay. Number one is basically the cash payback period. All right. So I will put it here. Number one is all about your cash payback period. All right. What do you mean of cash payback period? So cash payback period is you identify is the time period wherein to recover the cost of the capital investment from the annual cash flow produced by the investment. In layman's term, no, ilang taon ka makaka-recover with your investment. Okay? What is the formula to compute for the cash payback period? Sa ibang negosyante, ito ay tinatawag na return on investment. Okay? Again, cash payback period is the time period wherein or required to recover the cost of capital investment na from your annual cash inflow. In layman's term, again, ilang taon ka makaka-recover with your investment. Alright. So the formula of this is in terms of cash payback period is, diba? Cost of investment. Alright. Cost of investment. Okay? Divided by, ano ba itong divided by? Wala, no? Okay. Yan na lang. Divided by what? Your net cash flow. Yan. Ano to ha? Divided by to. Ano? Alright. In terms of this example, okay? Okay. How much would be your cash payback period? How much would be the cost of investment? Di ba 130? The cost of investment is 130. Okay, para makita niyo yung formula ha. So 130 divided by how much would be your net cash flow? Diba 24,000? Yan. Alright. So how much would be your cash payback period? So copy ko to. Okay, ito na lang. Sorry. Ito na lang. So how much would be your cash payback period? The cash payback period is 5.42. What do you mean of 5.42? Ito yung years ha. Ito yung taon. Alright. In terms of your cash payback, very good, 5.42. Alright. The question is, what if you have 5.42 years as your cash payback period? The question is, you will accept the proposal, accept, yes or no? What do you think is the answer for this? You will accept the proposal if your cash payback is 5.42 years? Anyone? Okay, yes. YRV, yes.
Sir, kasi 10 years yung useful life, tapos half a year pa
Alright.
lang makukuha mo na po.
Alright, very good, RV. That's the answer, no? You will accept it, no? You will accept it. Why? Yes, why? Because your payback period, no? Your payback period is less than the useful life of the asset. All right, that's the main useful life of the assets. No, that's the main criteria we're in to accept the proposal. Why? If you will accept the proposal, if the payback period is less than the useful life of the asset. Why? Common sense, diba? 10 years yung useful life of the asset. Eh, maybe, ano to, 6 years lang ata to, di ba? I think usually 6 years or almost 6 years, no? You can recover now your investment. So you have 4 years pa. For sure, your 4 years is basically you hindi na siya outflow, hindi na siya, meaning if you recover already the cost of it within 6 years, and the 4 years is malamang you have now your income. All right, very good, RV. All right, so in terms of this, no, the cash payback period is the shorter the payback period is, the more attractive is the investment, di ba? So the payback period is usually related to the estimated useful life of the asset. And so you need to compare the cash payback with the useful life of the asset. Very important is that the cash payback, no, mas maganda if it is shorter or if it is less than the useful life of the asset. All right. Kaya lang, yan, ito yan, 5.42 years, no? So, acceptable siya, no? The product is acceptable because you have 5.42 versus you have a 10-year useful life. All right. Of course, in terms of the cash payback period, there are or there is pros and cons, no, of this cash payback period. Bakit? Yes, the pros or the advantages, easy to understand, easy to compute, no? By just dividing the investment by the cash flow. Napakadali, di ba? Kaya lang, ano yung disadvantages? The last bullet, last sentence. It ignores the time value of money. Correct. Why? Because the 24,000 here, which is for 10 years, is basically irrelevant, or the amount of it will change, no, 10 years from now. Correct? 'Di ba? Kasi notice yung pera mo ngayon, minsan maliit na, 'di ba? Tingnan niyo yung pagpunta niyo sa Jollibee or McDonald's, 'di ba? Usually, naalala ko value meal dati ay ano lang, I think 59 or 69 pesos, 'di ba ngayon? 89 na ba or 99? Why? Because of the time value of money. Lumiliit ang value ng pera, eh tumataas yung bilihin, no? Why? Because of inflation, because of interest rates, yan. That's why yung pera mo ngayon, maliit na yan, no? As time goes by. Kasi may remaining years pa naman. Yes. Very good, Miss Gregorio. Alright. That's why number 2 is all about the net present value method. Alright. So number 2, so we are done with the cash payback period. Number 2 is all about the net present value. Usually dito karamihan, the net present value is dito yung tanong sa board exam. Kaya please be ready in terms of the net present value. Okay? Medyo complex pa yung mga problems na alala ko during our time when I took the CPA board exam. I think one problem, napakahaba. Mayroon pang dialogue, no? And then 5 items is the question is net present value method. Alright? Alright. What do you mean of the net present value method? So it takes into account the time value of money and the estimated cash flow, and it is called the discounted cash flow technique. Okay? Take note of the last bullet. Generally recognized as the most informative and the best conceptual approach in making capital decision. Yes, because in San Miguel, we use net present value method in purchasing that equipment. All right. So, what is the primary budgeting method? So, what is the formula pala of this? Or it is also called net present value. So, what is the formula in terms of the net present value? Okay. The cash flows are discounted to their present value and then compared it with the capital outlay. So the formula in terms of the net present value is present value, okay? Present value of cash flows. Present value of cash flows minus your net investment. All right. But what, okay, this is your net present value. But what do you mean of the present value. So meaning cash flow, you multiply it by the present value, which is the present value of annuity of 1 or the present value of 1. Kayo ba ay nahihirapan to compute for the present value or madali lang? Or
Kaya
alam
naman
nyo yung,
po, sir.
okay naman. Alright, so alam nyo yung behind that formula? Kung bakit, di ba, yung paano pag-compute ng present value, di ba? Through calculator, no? 1.12 divided by equal sign. Alam niyo yan?
Yes, sir.
Naturo sa inyo ni Sir Jossart, di ba? Kasi, yan, sa calculator, tama, Marinel, no? So 1.12 divided by equal sign. Alright. Pero alam nyo ba kung bakit ganun? Tinuro ba sa inyo kung bakit ganun ang reason? Tinuro ba?
Hindi po, sir.
Alright. Basta alam nyo yung formula, ganun na.
Opo.
Alright. So, sige, I will teach you kung paano. Alright. Sige. Sige, I will remove this. Okay. We will go first with the future value. Alright. Let's say this is year 0. Alright. Year 0. It's gonna be year 1. Year 2. Let's say year 2 na lang ha. Kasi mahaba yung pag gawin pa natin year 10. Okay. For me, ano lang, at least as long as you know the basic no, about the future value. Okay? Kasi after this, we will discuss about naman present value. Okay? Alright. What if you will invest in one particular bank, no? And it will earn 12%. Diba? Let's say 12% per annum. Diba? So, ano nga yung formula to compute for the interest? 1,000 times 12% times 12 divided by 12. So parang 1 lang. Kasi it is for per annum. Alright. So, in year 1, magkano na yung pera mo? Okay? For sure, this is 1. Diba? 1 is basically your 1 million plus 12%. Correct? Tama ba? Why? Because you include now the 12%. Correct. So for sure, yung pera mo after year 1 is 1,000 times 12 times plus 1 million. Or simply 1,000 times okay. Or 1,000 times 1.12, di ba? Times 1.12. Okay, gets ba? Alright, malamang ba't ganun? Okay, sorry. Walang times. Times 1.12. So for sure, your money after 1 year is 1,120,000. Napakataas, di ba? How about in second year? Okay, so in terms of second year, dodoblehin mo to, di ba? So hindi pwedeng 1 million times 0.12 pa, hindi. So dapat ito ay magiging 1.12 pero raised to 2 na, di ba? Raised to 2. Alright, why raised to 2? Kasi 1.12 plus 1.12. Okay? Malamang ito ay year 3 raised to 3 na, di ba? So, yun yung pera mo. Or pwede mo naman gawin manually, pero ito yung pinaka shortcut, no? You can do 1.120 times 1.12 or 1 million times ito. Okay? Sige, try natin ha. So, how much now? So, 1 million, diba? Times 1.12 raised to 2. Okay? For the purpose, for the purpose of, yan. So your money now in second year is 1 million. Ayan. Sorry. Ano nangyari? Tanggalin ko yung 0. Ayan. Or you can do pwede naman gawin nyo ay 1.120, di ba? Times 1 times 1.12. Same lang yun, ha? Times 1.12. You have the same. Di ba? Pwede naman gano'n, no? Bahala kayo, no? But of course, for me kasi, kailangan mo makuha yung value mo on year 0. Alright. How about in year 3? Okay, how much now your money? Alright. So, 1 million, di ba? Times 1.12 raised to 3. Alright. So, your money now is 1 million 1.4, not 1.2. So meaning, if you invest in one particular bank with 12% interest, your money of 1 million will earn 404 after 3 years. That's your future value. Tama ba? But in the capital budgeting is, what we compute is the present value of your cash flow. So same pa din to. Okay? So I will just copy, ha. So this is the present value. Alright. Usually, hindi ito given, no? In your, sorry. Yan ako na lang to, ha. Base value. Copy. Alright. In the capital budgeting, ano yung given? Ang given ay ito. Correct? And you want to compute for the present value of it. Diba? In this example, magkano ang ating future value? Diba 240? 24 times 10, you have 240. But you need to compute for the present value of the 240. Alright, paano yun? Alright. So, gagawin natin, if it is to be multiplied, ito ay pabalik. Correct? You need to divide that para makuha ang present value. Alright, so paano to? So, in year 3, since ito yung formula, diba? Or you can do, okay, para maintindihan, pwedeng dalawang, pwedeng you divide it, diba? Alright, so ano to? So, the formula of it is, so far ba naintindihan kung bakit ganon? No? Hindi lang, no need to memorize of it, diba? The present value and the future value. Alright. Alright. Sige, thank you. Alright, so in terms of this formula, so gagawin natin is we divide it, diba? Of 1.4, diba? You divide it by, kasi kanina we multiply, no? We divide it by 1.12 raised to 3. Sana 1 million. The answer here is 1 million. Ano yung 1 million? The 1 million is your present value. Since in the board exam walang Excel, di mo magagawa to. Alright. So ano pa yung isang alternative to compute for the present value? Using your calculator, di ba yung tinuro sa inyo ni Sir Joshart? 1.12 divided by equal sign. 3 years to. 3 equal sign. Then, minus 1, di ba? Divided by 0.12. Makukuha mo na yung present value of annuity. Pero for me, wag mo na yung wag mong i-memorize yung 1.12, yung 0 point something. Gawin niyo ganito, okay? To compute for the present value, saan ba nanggaling yung sige, sample natin, ha. I have sample here. Saan ba nanggaling ito? Saan na yun? Alright, sorry. Medyo advance tayo, ha. Alright, saan ba nanggaling ito? 0.89, 0.79, di ba? Ginawa niyo ay 1.12 divided by equal sign. Di ba ito yung makukuha niyo? Tapos pangalawang sign, Pag pangalawa, ito yung makukuha nyo. Third, ito. Pero saan ba nanggaling talaga to? Using your calculator. Pero naintindihan ba kung saan to galing? Gawin nyo ito. Okay? So, in terms of the present value, tayo ay pabaliktad. No? So, gagawin natin, in terms of the first year, so, okay na to ha. Let's say, I will delete this. So, gawin natin, the formula of it is 1. Diba? Kasi tayo ay pabaliktad. Diba? Ayaw mag-ano ha. Ayan. Okay, so 1 divided by 1.1 plus 12 raised to 3. Alright, ito yung year 3. How about year 2? Yan. Ito naman, raised to 2. Sorry, same. Raised to 2. How about in year 1? So meaning, year 1 is this. Wala na to, di ba? Try nyo nga. Sige nga, try nyo nga. If the answer for this year 1 is 0.89286. Tama ba?
Yes po.
Yes. Diyan ang galing ang 0.8926. Sige ako. Kapit natin. 1 divided by ito. Value. Alright, sorry. Ayaw niya ng formula. 1 divided by 1.12. Alright. Year 2, 1 divided by 1.12 raised to 2. Sorry. Ito naman, same formula, pero raised to 3. And so on and so forth. Alright. Ngayon ba naintindihan kung saan ang galing ang present value of 1? Dito nang galing yan. Alright. Sir, bakit 1 divided by 1.12? Kasi nga, pabaliktad ka. Galing ka dito sa future value and you need to compute for the present value. That's why you divide it. No? Kanina, in terms of the future value, anong ginawa mo? You multiply. Correct? That's why you divide it in terms of 1.12. Alright. But for the purpose of your board exam, yes, you can do the formula again, yung 1.12 divided by equal sign. You can do that naman. No? For me is, what if nakalimutan mo yun? No? So, ito yung gawin nyo. Diba? Kaya lang, medyo matrabaho lang. No? Buti kung meron kayong Excel. Diba? As time goes by yun. What if it is 10 years? Alright. What do you mean of this? Kung in the essence of it. What if you have 0.12? What if you have 1 peso? As you notice, the value of your 1 peso after 1 year is only 0.89. The value of your 1 peso after 2 years is 0.79. The value of your 1 peso in 3 years is 0.711. Even after 10 years, the value of your peso is 0.32. Napakababa. That's why, very important is the time value of money. No? Kaya kanina, I think si Jaime nagsabi, no? 224 times 10 is 240 minus 130. He will accept. Yes, but he ignores the time value of money because the 240 is not the true money. in terms of your present value now. The 240 is year 10, but you need to compute for year 0. Diba? Alright, sige. So far, naintindihan ba to? Alam nyo na ang
Yes po.
essence about the present value of 1 or the present value of your annuity. Mas malinaw. Alright. Ako ginawa ko lang
Opo.
3 years kasi mahaba pa yan pag 10 years. For me, gusto ko lang malaman nyo kung saan ba nanggaling yung present value of annuity of 1, present value of 1. By the way, in the board example usually binibigyan na yung table. Kaya madali na din. Nasa pinakalikod, may table na doon. Present value of annuity of 1, present value of 1, future value of 1, future value. So, may mga time na no need na to compute for. Yun nga lang. Hopefully tama yung sir, pwede po patingin po ulit yung list ng present value rate. Ito. Ito ba yan, Jaime? Alright, yun nga lang.
Opo,
Kailangan,
sir.
kailangan mo din, tama din yung ilagay mo as part of, baka mali yung pag-multiply mo. Yan. Sige. Okay lang ba? Balik ko sa dati ha. Alright. Yan. Ito yan. So the present value again is present value of your cash flow minus your investment. And the difference of it is called net present value. And we will use the required minimum rate of return. Take note of this. Minimum required rate of return, or also known as cost of capital, or also known as hurdle rate, cut-off rate. Kaya madaming tawag dito. Pero usually it is called cost of capital. So after your midterm, we will discuss about cost of capital. So saan ba nanggagaling yung 12% na yan? Saan ba galing yung 12% na to? Yan. So we will discuss that next meeting or after your midterm na. Alright. What is the proposal to be acceptable or to be accepted when the net present value is 0 or positive? Common sense. The higher the net present value, the more attractive is your investment. Alright, why? Because you have a lot of the present value of your cash flow versus your investment. Take note of this, ha? Yan. So to summarize everything, present value of your cash flow less investment is equal to net present value. Pag 0 or positive, you will accept the proposal. If negative naman is you reject the proposal. Alright. Ito yung kanina, no? Sir, saan naman ang galing tong 5.65022? Ayan. You can now compute for your calculator. Saan to galing? Ito ay tinatawag na present value of 1. Correct? Saan ang galing yung present value of annuity? So gawin nyo, lahat ito ay i-add nyo. 0.89 plus 0.79 plus 0.711 until 10 years. Yun yung present value of annuity. Or you can do your calculator. 1.12 divided by 10 times equal sign minus 1. Diba? Then times 1 negative para maging positive. Then divided by 0.12. So makukuha mo itong 5.65022. Pag nakalimutan yung formula, gawin nyo to isa-isa. Hanggang 10 years. Add nyo. Diba? At least, madami akong tinuro sa inyo na...
Sir, paano po ulit yung sa calcio?
1.12 then divided by twice mo pindutin. Wag sa wag sa scientific calculator, malamang mag-error yan. Yung yung calculator ng mga accountant na malaki. Yan. Then equal sign 10 times. Pwede sa iPhone. Alam ko pwede sa iPhone. Sige. Sabay tayo ha. Okay. 1.12 divided by, twice nyo pindutin yung divided by, then equal sign. Pag yung 1 yung lumabas, hindi pa yan counted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 years siya, di ba? So dapat 0.321 na yung lumabas. Alright. Minus 1. So you have 0.67. Never mind of the negative, okay? Then divided by 0.12. Tama ba? 5.65 yung lumabas? Yes. 5.65022. Gets? Or you can do again, add mo to lahat, malamang 5.65022. Okay? Bakit annuity? Annuity is basically, it is to annualize, no, your present value, or by simply adding all the present value of one. Yun ang ibig sabihin na. Alright, so since you have uniform cash flows, ito na lang. So number 2, we have present value. What is the formula? Magkano ang ating present value? Magkano ang ating cash flow? Di ba 24,000? Okay? 24,000 is our cash flow. We multiply it by present value of annuity. Why annuity? Because you have uniform, you have equal cash flow. Or you can do 24,000 times 0.89, 24,000 times ganito. Wag na, no? Ito yung pinakamadali. If you have uniform or if you have equal cash flow. Magkano yan? 5.65. Okay. 5.65022. Copy ko ha. It's 22. Alright. Minus your investment. Magkano yung investment natin? Diba 130? So minus 130,000. Alright. So how much would be your net present value? Sige nga, complete nyo nga. Okay, 56505.35. Okay, very good. So the answer here is 5,605.35. Alright. The question is, you will accept the proposal if you have 5,605.35? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yes. Why? Because the net present value here is positive. Diba? To be accepted or to accept the proposal, NPV should be 0 or positive. Alright, very good. And the proposal is acceptable at 12% because the required rate of return of NPV is positive. What if unequal? Pag unequal, hindi mo na ito magagamit, 'di ba? Alright, kasi unequal siya. Gagawin mo isa-isa. Okay? Again, sa ito galing kanina ha, compute natin. Or 1.12 divided by equal sign. In the first year ito, second year ito, third year ito, fourth year. Alright. Yan. So, magkano ang ating present value of it? 144. Kanina ba magkano? Kanina ay 135. So, mas maganda pala pag unequal or mas maganda mataas muna yung nauna, di ba? Alright. So, magkano ang ating net present value? 14,367. Accept ba? Yes or no?
Yes po, sir.
Why yes? Because you
Positive po.
have a positive net present value. Very good. Again, what is the other term for minimum required rate of return? Discount rate, hurdle rate, cut-off rate, required of rate of return, and or cost of capital. So again, after your midterm, we will discuss about cost of capital. Okay? Ano ba ang cost of capital? It is the rate wherein it obtained funds from creditors and stockholders. That's why in the cost of capital, we will discuss about cost of equity, cost of liability, and the weighted average cost of capital or WACC. Okay? Yan, ito yan. Weighted average cost of capital on the borrowed funds on investors and the company stocks. Okay? Or it is also called discount rate. Yan. So, as you notice, no, what if tinaasan nyo ang percentage no, from 12 to 15%? sa tingin niyo, on the part of the company, mas okay siya? Oo o hindi? Kasi notice, pag tumaas ang ating interest, what happened to our discount factor? Diba, bababa din. What happened to the net present value? Diba, nag-negative na. So meaning, mas maganda pala, mas mababa ang interest. Tingin niyo bakit? Common sense lang. Ano ba tong 12 and 15%? This is the interest rates, di ba? This is because of your inflation. Okay lang ba pag tumaas yung percentage mo ay bibili ka pa ng produkto? Di ba hindi? Di ba? That's why, as time goes by, pag tumaas ang inyong percentage, di ba? Papangit or hindi ka na bibili. Okay? Mas maganda pala is mas mababa ang percentage mo in order for you to have more positive net present value. Usually, ito ay ang question sa theoretical part ng MAS. Usually, what if from 12% you have now 15%? Do you think that Jimenez Darren Company will accept the proposal? For sure, hindi. Because if you increase the discount rate, for sure you will have lower net present value. Tandaan to ha. Alright. To simplify assumptions, again, NPV is basically all cash flows come at the end. It is reinvested and it is based on the predicted specialty. But in the real world, no, in real scenario, the NPV is basically based on estimated analysis. Of course, why? Because there's no information pa. Yeah? That's why it is based on the estimated basis. Alright, sige nga. If you understand well the discussion, sige nga, compute nyo nga ito. How much would be your net present value? I will give you 10 minutes for this. How much? Wait lang ha. Adjust lang ako. What do you mean of equipment overhaul? Ito ay major repair, okay? Then salvage value. How much? Hi. Kuha ba?
Hindi po
Sige,
sure.
sige Marikay. Sige.
Yung na-compute po namin for net cash flow to 30,000.
500 less 200 less 30 less 40.
Opo.
Ganyan.
Opo.
300 less 30 to 70 to 30. Di ba?
Yes po.
Then you multiply it by the present value. How much is the net present value?
Sir,
Yes, sige.
pwede
Try.
po question.
Sure.
Hindi, ano pong gagamitin pong years? Yung 5 years po ba or yung 10?
So 10 years na because the equipment is 10 years.
Thank you po.
Okay. The 5 years is basically is the overhaul, meaning you repair. The repair is in 5 years. Na you need to repair that. So si Jaime, the answer is 740. Okay, sige. I will two more answers. Okay. So si Jaime, the answer is 740. Si Justin naman, 683. Okay. Two more. Maybe five. Sorry, five. So si RV 723. Si Alvon 1 million. 1,543,000. Sige. One more.
Ano po
Compute
bang hinihingi? Yung net present
net
value
present
po?
value. Yes, net
Ah.
present value.
Sir, pwede po matanong kung ano po yung rate?
15% now, you will use the 15% rate. Okay, si Marikay ay 154. Alright, sige. Okay? So, sige nga. If correct. So, yung iba, 568. Alright. So, first thing to do is get the net cash flow. So, tama kayo, di ba? The net cash flow is, okay, 154. So, basically, 230. Alright. The 230 is now your cash flow. No? The cash flow is to be computed in terms of your present value. Alright. Parang lalayo ng answer nyo. Ano? The answer is 59,825. Paano yun? First thing is to get the purchase price. For sure, wala siyang factor. Kasi ngayon to, di ba? Ngayon, the cost of the purchase is 1 million. Correct? So, it should be 1 million, ha? Alright. Next thing to do is, pag negative pala is cash outflow, ha? Pag positive is cash inflow. Overhaul. Bakit kailangan mo siya i-compute for the present value? As you know, saan ka rin 4.0.49718? It is the present value of 1 for 5 years. 1.12 divided by 2 times and 5 years. So you have 4.719. Bakit? Because the 200,000 is a one time. Correct? Hindi siya yung yearly. So, one time lang siya. The cost of the 200,000 now is not 200. The cost of it is only 99,436. Bakit siya negative? It is an outflow, meaning it is because you will pay for the repair. Correct? Yan. So, negative, negative. So, net cash flow, ito yung kanina, di ba? So, it will become part of your cash inflow. Saan ito galing 5.01877? 1.15 divided by equal sign 10 times minus 1 divided by 0.15. The answer is 5.01877. Why? Because the 230 is uniform or equal for 10 years. So, di ba pag ito ay minultiply mo sa 10 years, 230 times 10 years, you have 2.3. Pero hindi yan ang present value niya. The present value is 1.1. Correct? Next is also you will compute for the salvage value. Why sa ito galing 0.24719? It is the present value of 1. Okay? Which is 1.15 divided by equal sign 10 times. Ang answer nyo ay 0.24719. Why? Because salvage value is part of your inflow kasi mali-receive mo siya at the end of 10 years. So, kaya siya plus kasi cash inflow. If you add inflow minus the outflow, the answer is 59,825. Alright, gets ba?
Sir, question po.
Question. Sige.
Sir, paano nga po ulit naging outflow yung 1 million?
Alin?
Yung 1 million po.
Of course, 1 million is you will purchase your equipment now, correct? Go back to the formula. No? The formula is present value of cash flow minus net investment. Net investment is your 1 million here, correct? Because you will purchase now the investment, the equipment.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po.
Alright. Sige, sige.
Sir, pwede po makita ulit yung given?
Given. Alright, ito. Alright.
Ibe-base lang talaga sir kung ano, ay yung time period niya. Kumbaga hanapin po talaga para masolve yung present value.
Yes.
Okay po.
Kasi be careful with the 5 years. So usually, ito yung mga questions sa board exam. Ha? Kaya you need to analyze. Meron pa ditong working capital. Yan. Malinaw ba? For now? Malinaw? Marikay, question?
Yes,
Karen?
sir. Lalo na po yun dun sa salvage value na part. Kasi yung huli pong
Hindi
problem,
mo
zero nga po pala. Opo.
Zero. So you need to compute for this also.
Sir, sa quiz, mas mahirap ibibigay niya?
It's mahirap. Hindi ko pa nagagawa this week.
Okay. Wag na sir.
By the way, tomorrow your okay lang ba Sunday na lang kayo mag-exam? Sunday, kaya ba?
What time po, sir?
Umaga? Hindi, kahit buong araw. Okay lang. Basta you can take it na. Okay.
Start po ng ng
Umaga hanggang basta be honest in terms of answering. Ano lang yun, review nyo para sa Monday. Okay? Kasi sabi niya bukas daw meron kayong exam. Tama ba? Anong subject?
Intact po.
Intact. Okay, sige. Sige, Sunday na lang. Okay lang ba, Sunday? You can take naman anytime.
Okay lang po, sir.
I will start it at 12 a.m. na. Hanggang 11:59 ng Sunday. Alright, sige. Alright.
Sir,
Question.
Sir, yung may time limit po?
Ano yun?
Pag po may time limit po ba?
Yes, may time limit. Okay. May time limit. Okay. 1.5. Basta you can take it tomorrow on Sunday. Okay. Right now.
Sir, ano po ulit yung coverage ng quiz?
Coverage ng quiz is job order costing, job order, the CVP, and the variable and absorption costing. Alright. Okay na ba? No question na? Alright. Again, because of the net present value is positive, the project should be accepted. Alright. Okay. Identify the challenges in terms of capital budgeting. So, okay. Sige, I will discuss this. Wag na to. Wag na to. Wag na to. Alright. Next is all about profitability index. Alright. So, describe the profitability index. So, we are done with number 2. So, we have here number 3. It's all about profitability index. Profitability index. All right. What do you mean of profitability index? All right. So this is one relatively simple method of comparing alternative project that takes into account both the size of original investment and the discounted cash flow. So what is the formula to compute for the profitability index? Now, as you notice, same formula to compute for the net present value. Tama ba? Kaya lang ito ay to be divided. No? So, ito ay to be divided. Sa net present value naman ay minus. Correct? So, meaning same formula of this, the profitability index, pero ito ay to be divided. Yan. It is to be divided. So, anong tawag dito? It is called the profitability index. Profitability index. Yan. Alright. So, paano to? So, meaning, what if you have these two projects, no? Project A and Project B, and it is a 10-year life and 12% discount rate. Alright. Alvon, in this example, anong pipiliin mo if it is net present value? Project A or Project B? The criteria Project B because you have more net present value versus the Project A of 18.1. Very good. So as shown with this, now the Project A and Project B is more or is acceptable versus Project A because of higher NPV. All right. But what if it is mutually exclusive? Now meaning meaning ano siya? In terms of the project, no, connected. Okay. So, what is the formula? What if this is the formula of this? Now, given na dito yung net present value, di ba? So, ano yung formula again? In computing for profitability index, present value of your cash flow divided by net investment in project A, okay, and in project B. All right. Given na, take note of this, no? So, ano yung formula? Present value of your cash flow. Given ba ang present value of your cash flow? Diba hindi? Ano yung given? Ang given ay the net investment. But you can compute for the present value of your cash flow. Why? Kasi given na yung net present value. Tama ba? So, anong gagawin natin? Work back. Nagets ba? Go back to this dito, no? Ano yung given? Di ba given na ang net present value? Given na ang net investment. Correct? Ang hindi given yung present value. So, gagawin mo, you add back. Okay? That's why, example of this, no? Meaning 58,112 as the, sorry, wag na to. Ito ginawa na kasi binalik sa dati. Pero for me, mas madali is 18,112 plus 40. That's your present value of your cash flow. Tama ba? Divided by 40. 2574 plus 90 divided by 90. Nagets ba ako? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Po.
So,
Sir,
that's why,
90,000 po?
ano yan?
90,000?
Yes. Again, Project A. Sige, para makita niyo. Project A, what is the formula? Present value of your cash flow divided by net investment is equals to profitability index. My question is, given ba ang present value of your cash flow? Di ba hindi?
Opo. Hindi po.
Di ba hindi? Okay. Okay. Given ba ang net investment? I think given. Magkano net investment? Di ba ito yon? 40 at 90. So, 40,000 divided by, and you have here 90,000. Ano yung formula? Di ba you divide it? You divide it. But the question is, given ba ang present value of your cash flow? Di ba hindi? Here, di ba hindi given yung present value of your cash flow? Kaya lang, ang given ay net present value. Correct. Correct. Given yung net present value. So, go back to the formula in computing for the net present value. Given yung net investment, given yung net present value, para makompute natin yung present value of your cash flow. Correct? Hindi pa rin gets. Hello? Nagigets ba
Gets
ako?
po, sir. Gets po.
Alright.
Gets po.
Alright. So, magkano yung present value of your cash flow of Project A? Sige nga. If gets, Darren, magkano ang present value ng Project A?
Sige, sir. Tuloy nyo lang.
Ha?
Makikinig muna ako, sir.
Alright. Sige nga. Hindi pa rin gets. Savala. How much is the present value of the Project A? If gets.
Sir?
Magkano ang present value of your cash flow ni Project A?
Ano po sir? 58,100.
Very good. Kasi given na yung net present value, given yung 40, very good. Babalik tayo sa dati. Diba? So, meaning, the present value of your cash flow dito ay 58,112. Very good. 58,112. Again, saan galing yung 58,112? Given yung net present value, given yung net investment, work back tayo to compute for the present value of your cash flow. Alright. Sige. How about Project B? Sige nga. Karyana. How much is the present value of your cash flow ni Project B? Karyana? Hello? Wala ata. Wala ata. Okay. I'm testing you now. Kung nandyan pa kayo. Sophia.
Sir, nag-chat po si Kariana.
Nag-chat ba? Sorry, nag-chat ka ba? Karyana. Ayun. 110,574. Very good. 20,574 plus 90. Okay. Sorry, Karyana. Okay. Very good. The answer here is 110,574. All right. So how much would be the profitability index to Project A? 58,112 divided by your 40,000. All right. How about the Project B? 11574. Sorry. What happened? Divided by 90. So you have here 1.22. Kanina, sabi ni Jaime, sabi ni Alvon, in terms of the net present value is you will have Project B because of higher. Pero sa profitability index is you will now choose Project A. So meaning it will depends, no, if you will choose for profitability index or if you will choose for the net present value. For in reality, it is the net present value. No? Yan. Project A is more desirable in terms of higher profitability index. All right. So depende yan ha. If it is profitability index or if it is net present value. All right, wag na to. Next, number 3 is all about internal rate of return. By the way, any question about number 1 is payback, net present value. Number 3 is all about the profitability index. Number 4 is all about internal rate of return. All right. What do you mean of internal rate of return? Okay, so we are number 4. What do you mean of internal rate of return? All right. So meaning when you say IRR, no, take note of this, your net present value here is 0. All right. When you say IRR, the present value, okay, the present value of your cash flow is equal to your net investment. Parang break even, di ba? The present value of your cash flow here minus the net investment, okay, is equals to 0. By the way, to be accepted now, you will accept this higher profitability index. Profitability index. To be accepted, yes. With higher. And yes, with higher profitability index. So again, in terms of the IRR, the NPV here is 0. The present value of your cash flow is equals to net investment, or the present value of your cash flow is equals to or minus net investment is 0. Okay? So ito yung tinatawag ni IRR, meaning it results with the finding of the interest, the yield of the potential investment. All right, it is the interest wherein the present value of your cash flow will equal to your net investment. That's why your net present value here is 0. All right. Next, what is the formula to compute for the internal rate of return? Take note of this, ha. All right. Snipping tool ko muna.
Sure.
All right. Question.
Eh, pwedeng pabalik lang po kahit sa previous slide po.
Aha. Para makita. Ano yan? Pabalik sa?
Sir, pwede mo pabalik sa previous
Ito. Sige.
slide po.
Ito ba?
Yes po.
Alright.
Okay na po, sir. Thank you po.
Alright. Sige. So what is the formula to compute for internal rate of return? Number 1. Now, the formula is, as you notice, capital investment divided by net cash inflow. Alright. Step number 1 is to compute for IRR factor. IRR factor. Alright. What is the formula again? The formula for IRR factor is the formula is, makano nga yan? Diba? It is the net investment, all right, divided by your net cash flow. All right. Sige nga, if you are observant, parang may parehas na formula. Net investment divided by net cash flow is your IRR factor. Sir, parang nakita ko na yung formula yan. Net investment divided by net cash flow. Saan yun?
There's a cash payback po.
Very good. It is the same formula to compute for the cash payback period. Correct? Yes. Pero, in computing for the IRR, the formula here is to compute for the factor. But in the profitability in cash payback period, what we compute is the number of years. Wag malito ha. Same formula, yes. But here is what we compute for the IRR is the IRR factor. Sir, what do you mean of IRR factor? Sige. Net investment here. Magkano net investment? Diba? 249. Correct? 249 divided by 45,000. So how much would be the IR factor? Sige nga, divide nyo nga. 249 divided by 45. Ilan?
5.53 po.
Ilan, Marikay?
5.53.
5.53. Two numbers pa. 5.
3.
Okay. And then 5.533. All right. Sige. Oh, kung if cash payback period, the answer is 5.533 years. But in the IRR, it is called IRR factor. All right. Next step number 2 is sabi dito. Ayan, so 5.533. Step number 2 is you will use that IRR factor and you will look for table. Step number 2 is you will look for the present value of annuity table and look for 8 year. Why 8 year? Kasi 'di ba 8 years to? 'Di ba 8 years siya? So anong gagawin? Pupunta ka sa table, sabi ko sa inyo laging given, 'di ba? Ito ay given naman lagi pag nasa board exam. O, hahanapin mo siya sa 8 years. Saan pinakamalapit yung 5.5333? Malapit siya sa 9 years. Correct? So meaning, the IRR here is 9%. You will use 9% as the IRR factor. Kaya in the board exam, pag hindi given yung table, magreklamo kayo. Okay? Kasi number 2 step of the IRR is to look for the present value table. Sana hindi ibigay sa board para bonus na. Totoo yun ha. Kailangan nilang ibigay yung present value table. Always given siya sa board. Pag nagkulang, magreklamo kayo sa inyong review center. Okay? Usually, nagbobonus sila. Okay? Yan. So, meaning, you will use for the 9%. Approximately, we will use the 9%. Alright, sige nga. Kung tama yung 9%, so, sabi nila, IRR, the NPV is 0. Oh, go back to the formula of the net present value. Okay? So, you have here, 45,000. Tama? Sige nga, we multiply it by 5.533 o 5.5. 5.533. Kasi almost the same lang. Minus, magkano ang ating investment? 249. Try nyo nga, NPV dapat dito is 0. Tama ba?
Tama po.
Tama? For sure? The NPV here is 0. Correct? Ayan. So, you will use this 9%. Nagigets ba ang IRR? Step number 1 is same as the formula to compute for the cash payback period. Then, pag nakuha na yung 5.533, go with the 8-year estimated life. Go to the present value table of annuity. And pinakamalapit ay yung 9 years. Gets? So, di ba sabi ko, in terms of the IRR, the NPV is 0. So, we test. We use 5.533 by multiplying it with the 45,000 minus 249. Tama ba? 0, Marikay?
1.5 po lumabas.
Okay lang, okay lang. Kasi because of the, ano yon, because of the rounding off. Okay lang yan. Pero pag ito ay, inano mo, whole number, 0 yan. Okay lang yan, mga 1 or 2 pesos. Okay lang. Alright. So, in terms of the IRR, decision rule. In terms of IRR, when to accept the IRR? Yes, you will accept the proposal. Yes, if the IRR is greater than or equal to your minimum required rate of return, or also known as your cost of capital. Alright, may nag-question. Sir, ba't po titingnan sa table if di gagamitin yung present value factor? What do you mean? Sir, bakit po titingnan sa table if di gagamitin yung present value factor? The reason why we need to look for the present value table kasi we need to look for this present value factor or the IRR factor. Di ba? Kaya nga natin we compute for the 5.533 in order for you to look for this table. Saan ba yung pinakamalapit na 5.533 which is at 9%. Did I answer your query? Sophia? Alright, sige. Alright, decision rule in terms of this again is IRR versus the cost of capital. You compare it. If it is greater than or equal, you accept the proposal. If it is less than, you reject the proposal. Sir, saan po gagamitin ang 9%? 9% is basically your IRR. If you use the 9% here, for sure, the NPV is 0. Correct. All right. So, dapat, if it is to be acceptable, di ba? Dapat the IRR should be more than or greater than the cost of capital. Why? Di ba, as you notice doon sa 12 and 15%, mas maganda, mas maliit ang cost of capital. Correct? Correct. Naalala pa yung 12% and 15%? Ano sabi ko doon? Mas maganda, mas maliit in terms of the cost of capital. Why? Kasi pag maliit ang cost of capital, for sure you have more income, you have more cash flow, you have more net cash flow. That's why you will accept the proposal, yes, if the IRR is greater than or equal to the cost of capital. Gets ba, Josh?
Yes po. Thank you po.
Alright, the 9% is the criteria to test if it is to be acceptable to purchase the proposal or to purchase the equipment. Why? Because again, if greater than or equal, you accept the proposal because mas maganda, mas maliit ito. Okay? Pero if less than, mas malaki ang minimum required rate of return by the internal rate of return, you reject the proposal. Okay? This example, what if the IRR is 9, the minimum required rate of return is 8? Of course, you will accept the proposal. Why? because the IRR is more than your cost of capital. Question ba? Malinaw so far? Alright, sige. Walang question ha? Okay, to summarize everything, net present value, compute for the net present value, you will accept this if the NPV is positive or if it is zero. IRR naman, you compare it with the cost of capital, you will accept the proposal if the IRR is more than your cost of capital. Alright. Alright, last is all about annual rate of return. Di ba ang dami? The cash payback period, the NPV, the profitability index, and the IRR, we follow cash flow. Diba? Cash inflow minus cash outflow. In the annual rate of return or accounting rate of return, we will now follow accrual basis of accounting. Take note of this, no? Kasi in the board exam, tinatanong to. Okay? Only one account that you use accrual basis of accounting. That's your annual rate of return, or also known as accounting rate of return. All right, what is the formula to compute? So we are now in number 5. Last na to, last. Okay? Sorry if alas 8 na. Okay. Ngayon lang tayo nag ano, no, for 2 hours na. Okay? So you have annual rate of return, or also known as accounting rate of return. All right. So this is, again, we will follow profitability. We will follow accrual accounting. What is the formula? So the formula is expected. So notice, expected net income na. No? Expected net income. Not anymore cash outflow, cash inflow. Divided by, take note, average investment. So we need to average it. No? What do you mean of average investment? That's your beginning plus ending divided by 2. That's the average investment. That's your accounting rate of return. All right. So annual rate of return, again, to be acceptable, yes, you will accept this if the accounting rate of return is more than your minimum required rate of return, or also known as your cost of capital. Yan. So you compare it with the required rate of return. No? All right, to be acceptable, if it is the accounting rate of return is more than the minimum required rate of return. All right. In this example, alam niyo na to, di ba? To compute for the net income. What if the net income is 13,000? Okay, so sales plus cost of sales. Okay, no need to explain this. Alam niyo na to. All right. So the formula here is expected net income is 13,000. All right. You divide it by average investment. Take note of this. 130 is the new equipment, but you need to average this. Paano 'yon? So you will average that by using 130,000 plus 0, 'di ba? Kasi kailangan average divided by baka malito kayo. Ito na lang. Baka malito kayo. So 13,000 net income to ha, divided by 130,000 plus 0. Okay, divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Kasi it should be average. So malamang si 65,000. That's why to compute for accounting rate of return. Gawin nyo muna, ito muna, no? 130 plus 0, kasi wala kayong ending, divided by 2, I think 63,000. Kasi dapat it should be investment. It should be, yeah, ito yan. It should be average investment. I think 65% nga. Tama, 65. So, magkano ang ating accounting rate of return? 13,000 divided by 65. The answer here is 20%. So, just copy na lang ha. The answer here is at 20%. Alright. What if you have 9%? Of course, if 9% is the minimum required rate of return and you have 20% ARR, you will accept the proposal. Why? Because the ARR should be more than with the cost of capital to be acceptable in terms of this method or in this tools or technique in computing for the capital budgeting. All right. What is the advantages? Again, same as payback period, easy to understand, easy to compute, simplicity of it. Okay. But again, what is the disadvantages? You do not or it does not consider the time value of money. Yan lang naman yung problema niya. Okay? Okay, I will not give you this na. Saka na. Saka na. Kasi I will discuss pa a little bit of this. Sige, wag na. So in your midterm, what I will do is maybe theoretical part or I will give you some uh, problems pero basic lang muna, no? Basic lang muna. Compute for the payback period, napakadali, okay? And but in your finals, no, I will include all, especially in terms of discussing all the capital budgeting technique. So far, any question? Malinaw ba about capital budgeting?
Yes po, sir.
Ano po coverage? Again, the coverage of your exam in FinMan is Introduction to Financial Management. Number 2 is Risk and Return. And number 3 is the capital budgeting. In the strat cost, the coverage is CVP analysis. Next is absorption and variable costing. And the last is the job order costing. So 3-3. Question so far? Khalil, question. Tahimik mo Khalil ngayon. Alright, wala. Question so far? Malinaw ba? O inaantok na? Sorry, medyo 2 hours tayo ngayon.
Gutom na po, sir.
Inaantok na. Hindi naman. Hopefully you learned, no?
Po.
Alright, question so far. Ba't konti kayo ngayon? Wala yung iba? Dami absent, no? Okay, no worries. Di naman. Madami absent. Alright. So if none, thank you. And expect to upload your quiz tomorrow. Tulog ba? Tomorrow or until Sunday. And then exam will be on Monday. And then also Friday is your FinMan. Okay, so good luck in your exam. Kaya-kaya naman. Hopefully you answer it again with honesty, no? Okay. Of course, again, yun lang yung honestly, yun lang yung dilemma in terms of online. Pero hindi ko sinasabi sa inyo no. For me, of course, at the end of the day, you will be the one to take the CPA board exam. Diba? Yun lang yung lagi ko sinasabi. Okay? So hopefully at kayo din no will suffer, okay? If gagawin nyo yung alam nyo na, okay? Okay. May na-question. Sir, ilan items? So far, hindi ko pa nagagawa. No? I will, this weekend ko pa gagawin. Pero usually 60 items. Okay? Parang CPA board exam din, 60 items. Okay? Multiple choice. Combinations of problem and combinations of theoretical. Okay? None? Okay, see you all after a week na. Hindi tayo magme-meet next week. So, see you all kailan ba? On ano na, October 26. Alright. If done, sige, thank you. And see you all on October 26. Bye.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Alright.
Thank you,
Sige,
sir.
bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Yes, sir.